Good morning, welcome to another video. As you can see over my shoulder there, down a little river, this is the Warwickshire Stour. Now I've come to a stretch we fished a few videos ago, although a different part of the stretch. There's a hacking northerly blowing today, it's proper bitey, so I've come to the sort of wooded area, as you can probably see, slightly wooded area, to have a go in here. This river's at a lovely level. A lot of the rivers around here are quite high. The Avon is dropping, but it's still relatively high. But I fancied coming up here because I just looked at the level on the local gauge and thought, yeah, that looks nice. And it is, it's to be honest, a bit clearer than I thought it was going to be. Had it not been blowing an absolute gale, I may well have bought the trotting gear and perhaps did some trotting for some roach or chub, something like that. But given that it's very windy and we may go to the more open stretch a little bit further down, then I've bought the ledger gear with me. Bait wise, I've got some mashed bread, I've got some bread for the hook, I've got some worms and some maggots as well, and I've bought my Drennan ultralight mini feeder with me, which is just down here. I'll stick all the information on all the stuff I'm using just down in the link below, but there used to be a swim here. This stretch doesn't get fished particularly very much at all, and I've not been up for here, certainly to this part of the stretch, for about 18 months, so we're going to have to make the swim again down here. As you can see, I've chucked the gear down there. We're travelling very light today. I've just got the bag aside for my rod, landing net and bank stick. Right, I think that's probably enough waffle, isn't it? Let's get down there and have a crack. Not exactly a swim here, certainly not at the moment, but we'll knock these stingers down as quietly as possible. There's a little bit of a flat spot which I tend to sit on here, just here. As I say, we'll just knock these down as quietly as we can. Not ideal doing this when you're about to fish. So we've got a little bit of a back eddy down here, a little bit of a flow coming in and a little bit of a back eddy. We'll have a look in a second. We'll just get a bit of mash in. The fish can hopefully be having a munch on that while we get sorted. I bought the long landing net handle today because some of the swims we're going to fish, the water may be a long way away, so we'll need to be able to reach down. It's a right pain at the moment, keeps trying to rain. It's not supposed to come to much, but as you can probably see, we've got a flow coming. We're on the outside of a bend, but the flow is going on the inside bizarrely, and it gets thrown across to our bank down there, and there's a bit of a slack in here. So fingers crossed, there'll be a few fish sitting about in there. Now, I touched on the rod. I've got a Shimano Nasci reel, Nasci. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. And I'll touch on the rest of the kit. I'll put it in the description below if you want to go and have a look exactly what I'm using. Oh, blimey. Trees are falling down. I've got my standard running ledger rig on here, which I'll link you in up there if you want to go and have a look how I tie this up. It's very adjustable. Again, I'll put it in the description below as well. Now, it's got a simple link ledger on here at the moment. I have bought some feeders, and I'm probably going to use them in some swims. But because I can see exactly where the bread is going to sink in here, the mashed bread we've thrown in, I'm just going to use a link ledger. I'm not going to put a feeder on. As I say, some swims we will. I'm sure we'll need a feeder if they're rattling through. I've actually baited up a few swims as I walked along to come down to this one. We'll work our way back along them. Let me nearly put that in the tree. That would have been a good start. Right, see what happens. I've caught some nice fish from this swim in the past. I've also blanked in it. So we'll see what happens. This river was very hard going last time we came, a few weeks ago. We had one bite in 3 hours, so I'm hoping it'll be a bit better than that today. I'm going to mainly concentrate on bread, I think. We may put a worm on if we're struggling, or we can go on the maggot feeder if we fancy it as well. I think we'll probably catch lots of little roach, dace and gudgeon if we go on the maggot feeder. Not necessarily a problem. But we'll just see what we can do on bread first, if anything. we'll give it, as I say, we'll give it 10 or 15 minutes in here. Just see if we can do anything before we think about a move. A lot of the swims I've baited up, I've never fished them before. The joy of rivers for me is just, they're so different every time you go. You know, not only the colour and the level and obviously the temperature, but, you know, snags come and go, overhanging rafts come and go. Just the joy of rivers for me. You never quite know what you're going to find, even if you've fished a stretch, you know, for years. It just changes every year. I think time for a move. I say I might come back once it's settled a bit. Give it an hour or a couple of hours. We might perhaps come back, fish here. One of the disturbance that we made getting in has been forgotten by the fish, hopefully. There's just a few little ones around, I think, at the moment, chewing away at this worm. Right. We shall move on to the next. Well, this is an interesting spot. This has changed a lot since I last came here. I usually fish from sort of between these two trees you can see to my right here. But it's all full of debris now. So that's not happening. There's a big, huge branch in the way as well, as you can see there. So we certainly won't be able to fish from there. So I shall fish from up here. We could possibly drop in below as well if you fancied it. It's a bit of a slack down there. We'll have a go up here for now. With flowing water. So we can get our tip unwrapped. Now, I think I am going to put a feeder on in here. I did drop a bit of mashed bread in here earlier. I just think with that quite turbulent water, we'd be better off with a little feeder on. I don't think we need anything massive. That should do it, 20 grams. We'll just drop that out so it doesn't go wandering about all over the swim. We'll just put it where we want it. We'll have a little go here. Then we'll perhaps drop in just below where that branch is in that slack water, and then possibly go a little bit further down as well, just depending if we get any sort of reaction or any fish or bites or exactly what happens. Right, got this little Preston plug-it feeder with some mashed bread in. Bread on the hook. Now I'm hedging my bets a little bit with this hook. If I was just fishing for chub, I'd probably have a size 6 on. At the moment I've got a size 12, so they're 10 or 12 specialist wide gape on, just in case there's any nice roach take this bread. Right, a little bit heavy for this rod really, that feeder, when it's all loaded. I just want to plop it in over there somewhere. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Not very graceful, but hopefully there's something down there. Been munching away at the bread we threw in earlier. Yeah, I'm getting knocks already. There's a bit of an obstruction just to our left here, a bit of a bottleneck, and it sort of backs the water up. When it runs over, it's almost like a little bit of a whirlpool. This, it's usually good for a few bites. All right, there we go. Didn't take long, did it? Hey. Well, trying to get under my feet. I assume it's a chub. To be very careful. I'm not quite sure where the water starts here because of this big snag. It's a chub's got me in the snag. Come on. I don't think he's a monster, but it's a fish. It's a good start. Trying to get me. Oh, he's not a bad fish at all. Trying to get me in every snag in the river. Gotcha. Fantastic. I'm not sure how much of that you saw. Hopefully you saw what was going on. We're a bit restricted in here. Well, that didn't take long, did it? As I say, it's in baited up swims. Generally doesn't take too long. Have a quick look at him. As I say, no monster. Very happy with that. Cracking. First of many, hopefully. Right. I'm sure he's not going to be down there on his own. So what we'll do is we'll rest him up in the net just down there. A lovely place we can put the net. Because of this big snag. We'll drop him in there. Make sure he's okay. Yep. He's fine. We'll stick him there. See if we can catch his big brother. Cracking. That's wonderful. Right, last one. See if we can winkle anything out of here. It's, the way it's been going, I'll be surprised. Although, you know, the only fish we've caught has been from sort of slack water next to some fast water, so we've got a similar thing here. I'll cast over into that slack over there. Not really ideal with this rod. I might struggle a bit, but got to be worth a go before we go home. We've been at it a good 3 hours now. As I say, one proper fish. Crazy stuff. But you never know, we might have 4 out of here. I am not being particularly serious, but I have had 4 out of here on a couple of occasions in years gone by. Once on the ledger, once on the float. But not on a session where I struggle to get a bite in any other swim. Be nice to have one more though, wouldn't it? Really, as I say, not really the sort of swim for an ultralight. But we can get all the line out of the water. Hopefully that feeder will hold. Hopefully that rod tip will wrap over. Aye aye. God, I'm having a bite already, look. Come on then. There we go. Some funny bites. Not quite sure what this can be. That bites like a chub. Oh no, that's a chub. Quite possibly, anyway. God, look at that. Well, absolutely fantastic. got him in yet though. He's trying to get us in the edge here, of course. Doing a chub. Oh, blimey. Got in that float. See if we can get him. Got him. Landing at handle at the bag. Knock the chub out. Well, straight away, look. Straight away. Hooray. Well, it's about that. Cracking. Absolutely wonderful. Get bite straight away when you're on them. Right. Well, perhaps we can have a few out of here. I mean, I was joking when I said that earlier. But who knows? Right. Oh, a funny little bite. I really thought it was a small fish. It was much more demonstrative than the bites we've been getting in previous swims though, so that's what I was struck. It wasn't like those really fast, rattly little bites I've been getting in other swims. Fingers crossed. I think I should have put that out first. Well, we'll just give it another 10 minutes, see if we can winkle another one out before we go. It looks like a bit of fast water and a bit of slow water next to each other is the key today. Who knows? It may just be these swims with this bit of extra oxygen in them are the reason that we're catching in them. That bit of oxygen's perhaps giving the chub in these swims a bit of an appetite, whereas in the other swims they haven't got one. I don't know. It'd be nice to be able to monitor the dissolved oxygen, but it's not quite as easy as doing the temperature. Dissolved oxygen meters cost a lot of money, apparently. Shouldn't be a massive issue at this time of year, because the colder the water, the more dissolved oxygen it will hold. But the issue is you never quite know what's been washed into the river. I'm talking sort of agricultural chemicals or whatever. Definitely worth another 10 minutes in here though. No, that's it. Time to go home. That's been very enjoyable, although not at all easy. We'll get this fella back, give him his freedom. Lovely fish. One shot, back you go. God. So as I say, very enjoyable, but not in the slightest bit easy. It was tough going. We had to work for those couple of bites, but there was, as I mentioned, we got lots and lots of bites off smaller fish. So I'm certainly going to come up here with the light trotting gear, and perhaps on a day when it's less windy, we'll bring the light trotting gear up here and we'll bring pint of maggots and see what we can catch. I'm sure we'll have a lovely, lovely mixed bag, and we can have a bit of a rove about while we're at it. That's perhaps for a few days' time, but for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your fantastic support, and I'll see you all again very soon.